Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Butt Fumble Sports Show on this Thursday. On this Friday. We're inching ever closer to the weekend. We're even almost on the edge of it. We've got football in the rearview mirror after the Bears and Texans had a pretty entertaining game last night before the thunderstorms came through. Thought it was a pretty good first half of football. Certainly enough to wet my whistle until we get to some better games in the preseason. Hope you guys enjoyed whatever football action you did consume. Of course, baseball last night went pretty well also. We've got baseball a full slate because it's a Friday. Cubs and Cards in action right now. But we've got a full slate of MLB to follow it up. We're going to do our research. We're going to look at our trends. We're going to look at the data to try to find the best bets like we do here almost every single day. And of course, we have entered fantasy football season. So if you've come to Butt Fumble Sports because you want to participate in some fantasy football leagues or you want some fantasy football advice, you've certainly come to the right place. Big shout out to all of our loyal viewers who show up every single day, like Ricky over on YouTube. Shout out to you, Ricky. And to all of you who take time, like Elliot Robinson, so many familiar faces in the chat, who take time out of your day to join our show, participate. Hopefully we entertain you, give you a lot of good information to go into your night of sports action. With that said, we also are going to, like I said, cover the picks for this evening. We're going to do some draft. We're going to rant about what's going on in the sports world, USA, what's going on in the Olympics, keeping our eye on that, of course, as well. Make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're with us every time we go live. Make sure you're a member of this community. We're live almost every single day, and we're going to make sure the consistency is there now that we've entered fantasy football season, now that we're inching ever closer to the regular season of the NFL. We're going to be live almost every single day on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Instagram Live. Make sure you follow. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're a loyal member, just like John. Big shout out to you, John. Appreciate you being with us. With that said, I know a number of you are here because you want to get in on the fantasy football leagues. We are doing fantasy football leagues and drafts again this year and today. So if you want to get in on the fantasy football action, DM me on Instagram. Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram if you want to participate in fantasy football today. John just sent you the link. Heat for Feet sending you the link. If you want to participate, we're going to start with an 8-man fantasy football league, 8-man PPR draft. It's going to be a snake draft, 8-man PPR snake draft. That's where we're going to start. If you want to participate in that, DM me on Instagram right now, Butt Fumble Sports on Instagram. DM me there. I'll hook you up with a link for Rival Fantasy. We're going to get started pretty quick on that one. By the way, how we're going to go about things, we're going to do a league, then we're going to do some research on baseball, and we'll bounce back and forth between the two. So while people are hitting me up on Instagram about joining this fantasy football league, let's do some research right now. Slate, the board is empty as of the moment. Guys, let me know what the final score is for Cardinals and Cubs. I have my eye on that, so keep your eye on that one. With that said, let's do a bit of research on the next game that we have on the schedule. Diamondbacks and Pirates. Keep in mind, weather expected in Pittsburgh for that game, some rain, so it could be a chance this one gets washed out or is delayed. Just be mindful of that. Money's coming down on Pittsburgh right now. 39% of the money on Pittsburgh, despite only 29% of the tickets being on the Pirates. So the money getting a little bit of love, and there's a reason for it. Let's jump into this one right now. Pitching matchup for this Diamondbacks and Pirates game, Brandon Pfaadt against Luis Ortiz. Let's check out Luis Ortiz, first things first. I'm actually taking a giant sample size approach to this one. He's a home dog, I believe, in this game. When he's pitched as a home dog in his entire career, 5-5 straight up, 6-4 on the run line. Nothing we take too much from. First game of a series, 2-2 straight up. Let's think about Luis Ortiz, though. Just this year, Luis Ortiz, when he's pitched at home in Pittsburgh so far this season, 1-1. The under has been 2-0. When he's pitched as a favorite, not the case, sorry. When he's pitched as an underdog this year, the under, 4-0 when he's pitched as an underdog. Kind of interesting. That's the scenario tonight. Brandon Pfaadt on the mound for the Diamondbacks. Let's take a look at his stats so far this season. When he's pitched and he's been a favorite like he is tonight, Diamondbacks are 6-4 straight up, 4-6 on the run line. Total has gone 5-5. When he's also pitched on the road as a favorite, just 1-1. When he's pitched in the first game of a series, just 1-5 straight up. So kind of interesting here. 1-5 straight up when he pitches the first game of a series, regardless of location. The only win he actually has in the first game of a series he's pitched came at home in his last start under this scenario. Game against the Twins, a 5-4 win. Under's been a strong play. Pirates are a decent play here. Looking at the lineups, I'm going to quickly jump over to the player prop bets around this game to see if there's anything interesting. I'm kind of obviously aware of something that's got my attention. Luis Ortiz, smaller sample size, but a bit of success against him for the Diamondbacks. Jock Peterson, 1-for-3 with a home run. Corbin Carroll, 1-for-3. But other than that, numbers are pretty low. Lourdes Gurriel, 2-for-2, but small sample size. On the other side, Brandon Pfaadt, similar story, small sample sizes. Ke'Bryan Hayes, 2-for-6. Brian De La Cruz, 1-for-3. O'Neal Cruz is 2-for-3 with a home run. If I was going to make a player prop bet on this one, I would probably take O'Neal Cruz. He's been hitting the ball pretty well of late. Right-handers at home. He's got a hit in 7 of his last 8 games overall under that scenario. So for the game overall, I like the Pirates to cover. Pirates plus 1.5. I'm going to put that one up on the big board. Pirates plus 1.5. And if I needed a player prop bet for this one, I'd take O'Neal Cruz over half a hit. O'Neal Cruz over half a hit. If you wanted to play the hits, runs, RBIs, I think it's a decent play as well. Let's see how we're doing when it comes to loading up for the fantasy football draft. Again, if you want to participate in a fantasy football draft with us right now, it's going to be an 8-team snake draft PPR. DM me on Instagram right now, ButtFumble Sports. DM me on Instagram. I'll hook you guys up with a link so we can load up this first draft of the day. We just did our research for our first baseball picks of the day, but we already have 4 teams in the draft. We have 4 slots left. If you guys want to get in on the fantasy football draft that we're going to do the moment we fill up the league, that's an 8-team PPR snake draft league. If you want to participate, DM me on Instagram. Ty wants to get in on this one. He just got a link. Bobby wants to get in on this one, just got a link. Sean wants to get in on this one, just got a link. So again, open to everybody. Doesn't matter if you participate in a league with us or not. Open to everybody. So I'm sending the links. Diego just sent one to you. The moment we fill up the draft, we're going to go. So 3 slots left, and then we're going to draft. We'll draft a full 15 rounds, 2 slots left. And then we are going to get back to some baseball research. Then we'll draft, and we'll just go off and on with just that scenario. Before we do get into the draft, let's do one more baseball game when it comes to research. We're going to look at the next 6 o'clock game. It's a 6:40 start. Royals, Tigers, really interesting one, giving the starting pitching matchup for this game. Cole Ragans, Tariq Skubal. Who's the better pitcher to go with for today? Kind of an interesting one. Cole Ragans is pitching as an away underdog. In his career as an away underdog, 4-8 straight up, 8-4 on the run line though. The under has been a very strong play when he's pitched as a road dog. 9-2-1 the under has gone. 9-2-1. In his career when he's gone up against the Detroit Tigers, limited sample size, only 2 starts. The over hit both times in that one. He went 1-1. Just taking note. Let's flip it over and look at how he's done so far this season. That's Cole Ragans so far this season as an away underdog. Just 1-3 straight up, but 3-1 on the run line. The under is undefeated when he's been a road dog this year. Let's take a look really quick. How the Royals have been as a road dog this season. Hasn't happened too often of late. They're just 11-9 straight up when a road dog. 17-13 on the run line though. The under's been a better play at 17, 10-3. When they're a road dog coming off an away win, which they had yesterday against the Tigers, just 3-9 straight up, 5-7 on the run line, 4-6-2 favoring the under. Tricky one on this. Let's flip it around and look at Tariq Skubal. Tariq Skubal has been, you could argue, the absolute ace of the Tigers. In his career when he's pitched against the Royals, 5-6 straight up, 5-6 on the run line, 4-6-1 favoring the under when he's pitched against the Royals in Detroit. 3-2 straight up. The under's been better at 3-1-1. Under seems to be a slightly better play just based on what we're looking at. The total, though, is very, very low for this game. Total set at 7. Really quick, when the Royals have had a total that is set at 7 or less so far this year, Royals are 1-4 straight up when they have a total 7 runs or less. The scenario they have tonight, 2-3 on the run line, over under. The over is hit in 3 of the 5 games, 3-1-1. But interesting, Royals, not a great play according to a number of the trends we've looked at for this game, even though ballparkpal.com prefers them a little bit. Frankly, I kind of like both teams on a plus 1.5. I think this is going to be a tight game. Really quick, when the Tigers have a total of 7 runs or less, 8-7 straight up, 8-7 on the run line, over slightly better. So the over's been better for both of these teams. Really interesting. Okay, don't take my advice on the under. Take my advice on the over. Take the over. Really interesting here. When the Tigers have had a total of 7 runs or less and they've been at home, the over is hit 5 times. Kind of a similar story for the Kansas City Royals when they play a game with a total that's that low. I'd go with the over on this one. I'll put it up on the board so you have it. I'm going to take Royals, I'm going to take Tigers, and I'm going to take the over 6.5. That feels like a solid play based on the trends we've seen. I understand Cole Reagan's, the unders all favor him there. I'll rip it off the board. Maybe I'm not confident enough, but I put it up there for the moment. Tigers plus 1.5 has a lot of interest to me. That's really what I took earlier today. Right now, you can see Royals are getting the plus 1.5. Tigers are getting the minus 1.5. But I'd flip this one around. This has gone back and forth throughout the day. You could get Tigers plus 105. You could get Royals at plus 105. Sorry, at plus 1.5 at minus 210. Personally, I like the over the 6.5, and I like both teams I like a plus 1.5 on both sides. So we've gone through the first 2 games. Really quick, there is a player prop bet from this game that I absolutely love. So we'll hit on that one really quick before we do our fantasy football draft. Player I want to focus on, Salvador Perez. In his career against Tariq Skubal, he has a 333 average in 24 at-bats, so not a small sample size. Love Salvador Perez today. Salvador Perez, again, 24 at-bats against Skubal, 333 average, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. If you told me Salvador Perez went deep, I wouldn't be surprised. Salvador Perez, over half a hit. That's where I come out on this one. Personally, I can go both sides on it. I kind of like the Tigers plus the 1.5. I kind of like the Royals plus the 1.5. I'm on the fence, so I'm not going to put something on the board. But personally, I think this game's going to be a 1-run difference, so be mindful of that. Jumping on over to Rival Fantasy. The Rival Fantasy draft is going to start any moment. So if you've signed up, get ready to draft. We're going to do that right away. Setting up the draft right now. Let's do the draft time at 4:50. So we're going to do it in 4 minutes, everybody. This is going to be a snake draft. 30 seconds on the clock per draft pick. The draft order is randomized right now. Congratulations, John. You get the honor of the first pick, followed by Carter Newman. So the draft starts in 3 minutes. If you guys have joined us for the draft or you're following along so you can get a bit of information for your fantasy football leagues, make sure that you let us know. Love hearing from you guys and your reactions to our drafts and your take on certain picks that are made. Make sure you DM me on Instagram, ButtFumble Sports. DM me on Instagram if you want to participate in a draft today. ButtFumble Sports, we're going to do drafts throughout the course of the show, throughout the course of August, right up until the first week of NFL, probably until week 2 or 3, actually, because we know there are some people who are late to the party. So that said, if you guys want to get in on a fantasy football draft to compete against us all season long, DM me on Instagram. Now, last year, Rival Fantasy did pay out for those who won the league. I make no promises this year. It's not my company, not my responsibility. But that said, they did pay out last year, and it was a nice little windfall for those who participated. Draft starts in 2 minutes for those that are participating in this 8-man PPR snake draft. Draft starts in 2 minutes, everybody. Printing Money says Arizona will win. Kind of interesting. I'm taking the Pirates on the +1.5. Sean, Rival Fantasy should have an app. Printing Money say, man, Printing Money, we're going in different directions. We'll have to keep track of it. Evan likes the Mets, the Diamondbacks, and the Rockies on the money line. I would be shocked if the Rockies won tonight. That would be back-to-back wins for them on the road. That hasn't happened too often. Really quick, actually, let's look at that lickety-split. Rockies coming off an away win in their previous game. They're just 5-10 in their 15 games this year under that scenario. Interesting enough, when they're coming off an away win and then they start a brand new series the following game, they're actually 2-1. Not bad. Not bad. When they face a team with a winning record after an away win, 2-3 straight up, 2-3 on the run line. Not as bad as I thought. Kind of an interesting play. How about when they start a left-handed pitcher after an away win? Austin Gomber on the mound. Austin Gomber has started after an away win 7 times this year. That seems like a lot. Sorry, 6 times this year. They've gone 2-5. They've gone 2-4 in his starts. Anyways, time to do some drafting in about 25 seconds, everybody. So John, Carter Newman, El Pinche, Kyle, Agus, T. Melch, and Sokol, get ready. We're going to draft in about 15 seconds, everybody. A snake PPR draft that we're going to start in 10 seconds, everybody. 10 seconds until our draft. Look forward to it. Who are you taking at the fantasy draft? At 2, assuming CBC goes 1. A lot of people are telling me to take CD Lamb. I'm not sure if I'm quite there. Personally, I think Tyreek Hill, CD Lamb, Breece Hall. CD Lamb goes number 2 in this draft, though. Christian McCaffrey went number 1. CD Lamb went number 2. We are drafting, everybody. This is a PPR league. PPR snake draft. 8 teams. El Pinche is on the clock. Sean got last pick in the draft. Who should I go? Take back-to-back? We'll have to see, buddy. If you're in this draft, I'm not going to spill the beans just yet. Bijan Robinson went number 3. Very interesting there. Bijan, 2 running backs going in the first 3 picks. Usually there's been a run on wide receivers. Early in the first round. Tyreek Hill goes next. I'm going to take Breece Hall. Breece Hall is my pick at number 5. So we've had Christian McCaffrey, CD Lamb, Bijan Robinson, Tyreek Hill, and Breece Hall. Sixth pick of the first round is about to go. Colts or Titans week 1? I would go Colts, but I haven't looked at that yet. Amon-Ra St. Brown goes with the 6th pick of the first round. Very interesting there. Justin Jefferson goes 7. That's the interesting part for me, is Amon-Ra St. Brown went ahead of Justin Jefferson in this draft. Sokol with a back-to-back picks. End of round 1, first pick of round 2. Jamar Chase on the board. A.J. Brown on the board. Jahmyr Gibbs on the board. Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor. So plenty of talent. 3 running backs taken so far. 4 wide receivers. Jamar Chase goes, and then A.J. Brown. So 4 wide receivers in a row to end the first round and to start the second. T. Melch now on the clock. Jonathan Taylor, love that pick by T. Melch. He's got Justin Jefferson and Jonathan Taylor out of that 7 spot in the first round. Great picks. Garrett Wilson goes next. I'm on the clock next. I'm going to take Jahmyr Gibbs. So I've got Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs. Those are my first 2 picks in my first 2 rounds. Doubling up on the running backs. If you guys follow me, if you guys have listened to the show before, I'm very big on doubling up on the running back position where I can in the first 2-3 rounds. Big believer in that. Saquon Barkley goes next. Kyle's done a nice job. Tyreek Hill, Saquon Barkley, maybe brand names from the past, but certainly good value this year as well. El Pinche, who got Bijan Robinson in the first round, is making his second round pick. He goes Travis Etienne. Very interesting. I'm fading Travis Etienne. I'm not saying he won't have a good year. He's just a player I'm not interested in investing in, whether it's his injury history or the Jaguars offense in general. I have my questions. Kyron Williams followed Travis Etienne, and then to close out the second round, John picked Marvin Harrison Jr. It's amazing how early Marvin Harrison Jr. is going in these fantasy leagues. He's going in the second round in a lot of leagues. Kind of surprising me thus far. Rashad White, first pick of the third round. Puka Nacua follows him. Running backs coming off the board pretty fast now. Puka Nacua, last pick, he was the second pick of the third round. Thus far, no quarterbacks taken, no tight ends taken. I think that's right. Devontae Adams goes next. Kyle, who has Tyreek Hill and Saquon Barkley, making his third pick of this 8-man PPR snake draft. Travis Kelce off the board. Well, I'm going to take Josh Jacobs. So 3 running backs in the first 3 rounds. I got Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs. I love the depth. There's no bye week conflicts there. And I can slot one in as my flex. I know that means I'm waiting on wide receiver until round 4. Given this is an 8-man league, I feel like running back is a very valuable position. I can find wide receivers later in the draft, so I go running back with pick 1, 2, and 3. Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Josh Jacobs. I'm picking 5th in the first round, 4th in the second, and going through that snake. So I'm in a pretty good spot. In an 8-man league, being 5th overall is a really nice position to be in, actually. By the way, running back after I took Josh Jacobs as Devon Achane went next. Derrick Henry went next. Sokol, next player to go. He's going with Pacheco next. I wouldn't be surprised if he doubled up on running back. He already had 2 wide receivers. So I'm glad I took Jacobs when I did. The run on running back meant I probably wasn't going to get one of the running backs I really wanted in that 4th pick of the 4th round. So I have 3 running backs taken in the first 3 rounds. I'm going to look at wide receiver for me, obviously. Drake London, Olave, Brandon Ayuk, Michael Pittman Jr. Good position to be in. Drake London comes off the board after Alvin Kamara. Those are the first 2 picks of the 4th round. Interesting who's coming off now. Joe Mixon comes off next. I'm going to go wide receiver. I'm not crazy about this right now, but I'll take Chris Olave, best player on the board. I'm not crazy about investing in the Saints offense, but I don't think it's a terrible move. There is a bye week conflict with him and Breece Hall at week 12, but not enough of an issue for me to not pick him. Chris Olave, he's my first wide receiver. I'm taking him with the 4th pick in the 4th round. I pair him with Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Josh Jacobs, so I feel really good about my running back position again. Wide receiver is obviously going to be a lesser position. Maybe I look to trade a Jahmyr Gibbs or a Josh Jacobs, but I'd be probably asking too much for whoever be willing to make that deal. Sam Laporta comes off the board, 2nd tight end taken. 3rd tight end comes off the board here in the 4th round as Trey McBride comes off. John, very heavy on the Cardinals offense. Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. I don't love that. I like having one of them. I wouldn't want to double up on that offense. I feel like you're asking way too much of that offense. I think those are 2 good players. I like both of them individually. Not crazy about stacking the 2 of them. First quarterback to come off the board comes off the board at the 2nd pick of the 5th round as Josh Allen is selected. Interesting that Josh Allen, I actually like waiting until the 5th round to draft a quarterback. Personally, I'm going to wait even longer, but I think that's a good move by Carter. Making our way through this 8-man PPR draft, Jalen Waddle just went. I need to get another wide receiver. I feel like the guy in front of me needs to get a running back, Kyle. The tight end position, it started to have some movement. I'm going to wait on tight end. Oh, he went quarterback. He went Jalen Hurts. Works out for me. I'm going to take Michael Pittman Jr. A number of you guys know I'm pretty high on him. So I have Chris Olave and Michael Pittman Jr. as my 2 wide receivers. My 3 running backs are Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Josh Jacobs. Really balanced team. Really like the team that I have thus far. I only have 1 bye-week conflict, Breece Hall and Olave. That's week 12. Late enough in the year where I feel like I'll be able to pick up someone on the waiver wire, not have too many issues. Feel good about that thus far. C. Mankowski, Bijan, Chaser, Amon. I'd go Bijan, especially with a PPR. I'd go Bijan Robinson. Speaking of Bijan Robinson, should I draft Stroud or Devontae Adams in a full PPR? I don't understand the scoring of your league with a 2 FLX single QB. I don't understand that, so I just say Devontae Adams most likely, but I don't understand the scoring of your league, and so therefore I don't want to give you too much advice. That said, I need to get another position player. Patrick Mahomes is on the board in round 6. I like that, but I don't like it enough. I'm going to go tight end. I'm going to go Mark Andrews. So I'm going to go 6th round. I'll go Mark Andrews. I thought about quarterback. Don't like it enough, though. Needed a tight end. Like getting someone in that Ravens offense. Again, another bye week issue. Round 14, week 14 with Pittman and Andrews. That's not bad enough. Doesn't concern me. Who we like to hit a home run tonight? I mentioned Salvador Perez. Keep your eye on Salvador Perez. Great numbers against Tariq Skubal. I expect him to be a home run candidate this evening. Another player that I like to hit a home run, Giancarlo Stanton. Giancarlo Stanton, great numbers against Kevin Gausman, starting pitcher of the Toronto Blue Jays. Keep your eye on Giancarlo Stanton to go yard. Working our way through this 8-man PPR snake draft. The moment we finish up, we're going to get back to baseball betting. It's interesting. I'm just checking out viewership, and it's funny how for probably the next 4.5 months, not now clearly, but for the next 4.5 months, probably by mid-August, fantasy football dominates the conversation. And anytime I deviate from fantasy football conversation, the audience number goes down once we get into real fantasy football time. Clearly, we're a little premature with it because the fantasy football talk is driving some folks away who usually come here for sports betting conversation and content. So kind of interesting that we're right at that pivot point. People are still into maybe the sports betting a little bit more. But once we get into heavy fantasy football draft time, I'm not worried. I'm expecting the audience and the numbers to go way, way up. So Patrick Mahomes still on the board. And that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to get Patrick Mahomes in the 7th round. Absolutely love the team that I'm building right now. So this is the team I have through 7 rounds of our draft. I have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. Breece Hall and Jahmyr Gibbs as my starting running backs. Chris Olave and Michael Pittman Jr. as my starting wide receivers. Mark Andrews as my tight end. Josh Jacobs as my flex. You're telling me that's my starting lineup pretty much for week 1. Great draft. Things have gone exactly as I wanted. I didn't reach on Patrick Mahomes in round 6. Took Mark Andrews. There was a bit of a run on tight ends after that. Feel good about getting Andrews where I did. Waited on Patrick Mahomes. Feel good about that. Loving this team so far. Goobs, I agree. So this is our 3rd league that we've drafted so far. We did 2 yesterday. This is our 1st for today. Feel just really good about how the drafts are going, in part because I've done my modeling. I've gone through a number of mock drafts. I've looked at what the pricing or what the rounds are going to be for a number of the players. And so I feel good about the position I'm in. More so, and this is an important note and strategy point that I recommend to all of you. Don't just identify the players you want. Identify the players you'd be comfortable taking if the guys you do want aren't on the board anymore. So I think too often we get kind of our eyes wide on, I want this one player, and when they come off the board, 1 or 2 picks ahead of you, it may throw you off. Make sure you have a backup plan. Speaking of a backup plan, really like Amari Cooper here. Amari Cooper available in the 8th round. He's the number 1 wide receiver on a very talented team. I understand Flowers, Pickens, Higgins after him. I like Amari Cooper as my 3rd wide receiver, my first bench player. Amari Cooper has got good value for me. So again, my wide receivers are Olave, Pittman Jr., and Amari Cooper. Love that 3, given that I took running back with my first 3 picks. My first 3 picks were Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Josh Jacobs. So to come out of this draft with the talent at running back, at wide receiver that I do, feel good about it. Vince, what round is it? We're working our way through round 8. Round 8 of 15 rounds. Goobs, what are your thoughts on Devon Achane? I think Achane's going to take a major step forward. Obviously, injuries last year plagued him. The speed is there, but maybe more importantly, I think he works really well in McDaniel's system, so I love the offense that he's in. The offensive line might not be as good as I want them to be, but I still think Achane takes a step forward. I think he's the true RB1 of the Miami Dolphins this year. I think Raheem Mostert regresses. I think he had such a monster year, especially in touchdowns. But Achane, I think he's the better option at running back for the Dolphins. Am I going to draft him? I probably won't. He might be a player that actually I nominate in an auction draft, but I don't select myself or don't bid on. He just feels like there's too many question marks there. Offensive line, the fact that their passing game is so critical to their success. Maybe that means things are tipped in the opposite direction for me. So I like Achane, but personally, I'm not going to draft him. He's on my personal do not draft list. Making our way through round 9. If you guys have a question, feel free to fire away. Love hearing from you guys. Vincent Coakley, I do have some sleeper wide receiver picks. A lot of the rookies. This, we all talked about it. This is one of the most talented rookie wide receiver classes on record. And this is one of the reasons that I'm very, very high on waiting on wide receiver. By the way, I got Amari Cooper in round 8. Terry McLaurin still available. Reed is still available. Rashee Rice is still available. So I think there are plenty of wide receivers that I like that are on the board. Certainly have my eye on that. I have 3 running backs right now. I have 3 wide receivers. Waiting on Kyle to make his pick. He takes Raheem Mostert. I'm going to double up on the tight end position. I have Mark Andrews already. I understand the injury history from last year. Speaking of injury history, Kyle Pitts is on the board. I think Kyle Pitts is going to have a big year with Kirk Cousins. I almost treat him like a wide receiver. So drafting him, I'm not just thinking about him as another substitute to my Mark Andrews, but as someone who could be in the flex. So I took Kyle Pitts in round 9. I actually think that's really good value for him. He really belongs in, I think, around 7, maybe around 8, but to get him at round 9, good value there. Again, I think of him as another wide receiver, kind of a true flex, wide receiver tight end option. So again, this is my team through 9 rounds. 9 rounds, this is my team. I was picking 5th, by the way, overall. Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, Breece Hall and Jahmyr Gibbs are my starting running backs. Chris Olave and Michael Pittman Jr. are my 2 wide receivers. Mark Andrews is my starting tight end. Josh Jacobs is in my flex right now. And currently I have 2 bench players, Amari Cooper, Kyle Pitts. This team's coming together exactly how I want. Kyle Pitts probably wasn't something I was looking at for round 9, but if he's going to fall there, given the value he has, again, could be at the flex, could be at tight end, really like the opportunity to draft him right there. And he doesn't have a bye week issue with Mark Andrews. Keep track of your bye weeks. Keep track of your bye weeks. That's so important. You may go, oh, I just want to get the best players available. I don't care. Well, if somehow you lose a couple of bad weeks in fantasy by random occurrences, random, odds or events take place, you don't want that one bye week where you're truly like an underperforming squad. Make every week competitive if you can. Quick question. Who's CMC's handcuff? Is it Elijah Mitchell? Is he still there? I'm not quite sure, actually. I have to look into that. Is Taysom Hill a good pick? No, he's not. I'm not a Taysom Hill guy. Certainly not in a draft. If you want to pick him up, by the way, I know I have Patrick Mahomes. I should probably go running back. So I'm going to take a flyer here. This is the 10th round. I'm going to take a flyer on Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb supposedly is healthy. If he's back, I expect the Browns to still give him a decent workload. So getting Nick Chubb as my 4th running back in round 10, I'm okay with the lottery draft pick, see if it cashes. I only have 5 picks left, but I have depth at the running back position, so I'm not overly reliant on him. If I didn't have the depth there, I don't think I'd take the gamble. I may go for someone who's a bit more sure, like a Devin Singletary, but for the moment, I like the Nick Chubb gamble here in the 10th round. I think it's a low-risk, high-reward proposition. Who to take at pick number 5? Well, I was picking it at number 5 for this draft, and I went with Breece Hall. So, personally, I'm a running back guy in rounds 1 and 2. If you draft with me, unless a wide receiver falls or I'm in a very obvious wide receiver spot, I like to get my running back depth out of the way early. It's a position where the fall off from the elite to the next tier is substantial. Wide receiver, it's not really like that. The 10th wide receiver and the 3rd wide receiver, the difference between those probably isn't as big as number 3 running back and number 10 running back. So running backs where I invest early draft capital, and then I'm looking for good value at wide receiver later on. I certainly got that with Michael Pittman Jr. in round 5, Chris Olave round 4. I love Amari Cooper in round 8. I thought that was one of the better steals of my draft, at least so far. Jorge, this is a real draft. This is a real draft right now. Yep. We do real drafts here, so this isn't a mock. This is a real draft. We're going to be playing this league all season long. If you want to participate in a league with us, DM me on Instagram, ButtFumble Sports. You can participate in as many leagues as you want. ButtFumble Sports. We're going to be doing a lot of leagues to keep you guys engaged. Hopefully have a lot of fun with you guys throughout the course of the season. So I have depth at running back. I have depth at wide receiver. I have depth at tight end. We're in round 11. The question is, am I interested at quarterback at all? I have Patrick Mahomes. You think you're going to play him a majority of the year. He does face a couple good defenses, but nothing I'm overly concerned about. So I'll probably continue to stick at wide receiver. Wide receiver, Jaden Reed has my attention. Calvin Ridley. Hollywood Brown. I'm going to take another flyer. Ladd McConkey, I've mentioned him earlier. I like the rookie. It sounds like from all reports from Chargers camp, he's the wide receiver 1 on that team. Kind of like that. He's just going to be getting a lot of targets. So if you're telling me I'm drafting a guy who's getting a majority of the targets in round 11, that's the kind of lottery pick or lottery ticket that I'm trying to cash in. So again, once I reached round 10, I'm taking some flyers. Nick Chubb, Ladd McConkey, but I'm okay with the position I'm at. I have a really solid starting lineup. The flyers that I'm taking, I like that they're bench players. If they all of a sudden emerge as good value, I can slot them in, no problem. But I don't have any real bye week conflicts, so that works in my favor as well. My running backs, Josh Jacobs has the same bye week as Nick Chubb, but other than that, I'm totally good there. So really good team so far. I have 4 picks remaining. Still need to get my kicker in my defense, but feel really good about the squad that I have. By the way, I'm not someone who's going to rush on defense or on kicker this year. Just don't feel like it's necessary for me. Sokol just took Kyler Murray in round 12. I think that's some good value there. I think that's really good value. So shout out there. Brock Purdy just went. Run on backup quarterbacks. This started with the guy who's drafting now, who's Jordan Love. I'm going to draft my backup quarterback as well. May not be who you expect. It's Jared Goff. I mentioned this the other day. I mentioned it yesterday when we were doing our other draft. Jared Goff is playing almost all of his games this year inside a dome, so he's not going to be confronted with weather. Jared Goff in domes, historically, has been actually one of the better quarterbacks over the last few years, so feel very good about that. Having him as a backup for the weeks that he's going to play some lesser defenses, the Minnesota Vikings. I feel really good about having him slot into maybe the starting quarterback position and putting Mahomes on the bench just for those couple of weeks. Round 12 definitely seems to be where the backup quarterbacks are drafted. Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Caleb Williams. And that's about the right time. And again, I think backup quarterbacks do have value because you don't just want to say, oh, I got Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen and ignore them. Week-to-week matchups matter. If you're not getting good week-to-week matchups, make sure you're getting that second quarterback. First tight end comes off the board in round 12. Carter Newman taking the New York Jets. Kind of interesting there. Round 12 is probably the earliest I draft a defense. Round 13 and 14 make more sense for me. John is making his next pick after he took Matthew Stafford. By the way, someone out there who's watching, can you let me know what the final score was for Cardinals and Cubs? Cardinals-Cubs final score, can you let me know? Hojo, pick 3. I'd go Drake London, I'd go Brandon Ayuk, and I'd go Mike Evans. Even with Ayuk's contract situation, I think I prefer him to Deebo Samuel. John, taking the Cowboys defense. Don't like that. Don't like that at all. Cowboys are a team I would probably fade for a number of reasons. They have a lot of question marks. Defenses are starting to come off the board. That's where I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns were a top defense last year. I'll take them again this year. 13th round, 5th pick of the 13th round. Works for me. 6-3 Cubs. 6-3. We needed it. I wish it had been an 8-run total. I had under 9.5. I had under 10.5, but I also had under 8.5 on a number of tickets. That kind of sucks. If you had said 6-2, I would have been a very happy man. Who won the Hall of Fame game last night? I think technically the Bears did, but when it comes to betting, the sports books actually invalidated the tickets. So, Brock Purdy, a top 10 NFL quarterback. I think so, Dwayne. I do think he is. Now, do I think he's a top 10 quarterback in fantasy? Hell no. But I think in actual football, yeah, I do think he's a top 10 player. Top 10 quarterback, rather. Last 2 rounds of this 8-man PPR draft. Appreciate you guys being with us. I'm going to take another flyer here. Round 14. I'm going to take another flyer. It's going to be at wide receiver. I'm going to take Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman, I was in love with this kid at Florida State. He is a dog. He has such a motor. He's got great hands. He fights for every ball, every catch. I think he's going to be a really good addition to the Buffalo Bills offense. Taking him in the 14th round, it's a lottery ticket. If it cashes, great. If it doesn't, throw it in the garbage. Go to the waiver wire and pick someone else up. But given who I have in my starting lineup, I kind of like having that, again, kind of like a Ladd McConkey, just a rookie wide receiver who has a lot of upside, might be a wide receiver 1. Again, a wide receiver 1 on one of these teams you expect to maybe go in the top 6, 7, 8 rounds. If I'm getting them in round 12, 13, 14, 15, that's just great value for me. So I'm all about that. Last round of our 8-man PPR snake draft. Appreciate you guys who are watching the show, following along with us at home. If you guys want to participate, DM me on Instagram, ButtFumbleSports. If you want to participate in a fantasy football draft with us, we're going to be making leagues every single day. So if you want to participate in a fantasy football draft with us, just DM me on Instagram. Cody, 12-person keeper league. I'd keep Kyren Williams just because I value the running back position more than tight end. It's not that I don't love Laporta. I freaking love Sam Laporta. But there are other tight ends I could get that are probably going to be comparable value. I think Kyren, owning a running back who is coming off good history, is probably an RB1 on the team. That's where I'd go. Time to make my pick. I've got to go kicker with this last pick. I'm going to go Jake Moody. Jake Moody. So, I was picking 5th overall. 5th overall. Here's the team that I drafted while picking 5th overall. This was an 8-man PPR snake draft. At quarterback, I've got Patrick Mahomes. As my starting running backs, I have Breece Hall and Jahmyr Gibbs. As my starting wide receivers, I have Chris Olave and Michael Pittman Jr. As my starting tight end, I have Mark Andrews. As my starting flex, I have Josh Jacobs. As my kicker, I have Jake Moody. And as my defense, I have the Cleveland Browns defense. My bench is Amari Cooper, Kyle Pitts, Nick Chubb, Ladd McConkey, Jared Goff, and Keon Coleman. If I could critique myself, what I would say is I'm a little heavily loaded on the Browns. Not in a way that I'm unhappy with. Amari Cooper in the 8th round, absolutely a great steal, great value. Nick Chubb in round 10, that's a lottery ticket. If it cashes, it could be a really good pick. And I like the Browns defense in round 13. So I like the 3 picks, but I am aware that I'm pretty heavily loaded on the Cleveland Browns. Might not be something that gets me too excited or gets the average person too excited, but I think it's a very good team. Okay. We just did a draft. We are going to do another draft in a little bit. If you want to participate in a fantasy football draft with us, in a fantasy football league with us this year, DM me on Instagram, ButtFumble Sports. If you want to be a part of the next league that we do, that's ButtFumble Sports. If you want to participate in the next league that we do. Let's go to some baseball research. We're going to do some baseball research. Next game I'm going to focus on, Yankees. Yankee game. Marcus Stroman on the mound for the Yanks. Going up against his former squad, the Toronto Blue Jays. In his career, when he's faced the Blue Jays, and he, regardless of location, 2-2 straight up, 2-2 on the run line, 1-1, favoring the over. How has Marcus Stroman pitched so far this year? Marcus Stroman. Yankees are 14-7 in his starts when he's pitched at home at Yankee Stadium. They're only 4-6 straight up. The Yankees are 2-8 on the run line when Marcus Stroman pitches at home, so not a good run line cover team. That's as at home. When they pitch as a favorite, when he pitches as a favorite, 6-9. So again, much better on the road actually. By the way, the over, when Marcus Stroman pitches as a favorite, regardless of location, the over is hit in 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 straight games. The over has hit in 9 straight games when Marcus Stroman pitches as a favorite. When that's been in a night game, 7-3 straight up, 7-3 on the run line. Kind of curious when he pitches as a favorite on 1 day of rest. Only happened once this year. They ended up losing. That was to the Blue Jays back in April. Let's look at the other side of this. Kevin Gausman. When Kevin Gausman has pitched against the Yankees so far in his career, his team, he's pitched on the Orioles and on the Blue Jays. When Kevin Gausman's faced the Yankees, his team has gone 15-13 rather, straight up, 13-14 on the run line. The under's been slightly better. When he's pitched at Yankee Stadium in his career, 7-7 straight up, 10-4 on the run line. So just based on the starting pitchers, Blue Jays plus 1.5 appears to have some value. Funny enough, I took the Yankees on the money line for the game. I'm letting you know that now, but according to at least the pitchers, there's some reason to believe the cover might be a decent play. When Gausman pitches as a road dog at Yankee Stadium, though, just 2-6 straight up, 2-6 straight up. Over has been better at 5-3 on the run line. They have gone 5-3 as well. Yankees are playing on 1 day of rest. When the Yankees have 1 day of rest so far this year, Yankees are 5-6 straight up, 5-6 on the run line, under slightly better. When they've played at home though on 1 day of rest, 4-2 straight up, 4-2 on the run line. I'm going to put this one up on the board. I do like Yankees on the money line. Yankees on the money line. 2 players I like tonight as well. Juan Soto over half a hit. Juan Soto over half a hit, and Giancarlo Stanton over half a hit. I'm going to show those two to you guys right now if you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Kick. Let's jump over to that game. Again, I think Giancarlo Stanton over half a home run is actually a pretty good play. In his career against Kevin Gausman, Stanton, 19 at-bats, a .368 average. That includes 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. And Stanton, he came back from the IL, and he's hitting the ball, maybe not for hits every time, but he's hitting it really hard. So the exit velo is there. He only has a hit in one of his last 3 games, but really like what I'm seeing from him so far. Again, coming off a day of rest, so he should be in the lineup. A lot of his stats are back from June, so you can't take too much from the history overall. But when he's faced the Blue Jays at Yankee Stadium, he has a hit in his last 2 games under that scenario. He actually has a hit in 7 of his last 8 games against the Blue Jays, regardless of location. So in 7 of his last 8 games against the Blue Jays, Giancarlo Stanton has a hit. I like him to get a hit tonight. That's Giancarlo Stanton over half a hit. And again, I would seriously consider Giancarlo Stanton for a home run tonight. If you were asking me who do I think goes yard, I think Giancarlo Stanton could be one of them. Juan Soto is another person I would nominate for that. He has 13 career at-bats against Kevin Gausman, 538 average. 13 at-bats, 538 average. It includes a home run, 5 RBIs. He does have a hit in 6 of his last 8 games against the Blue Jays overall. Over his last 10 games, he has a hit in 7 of them. Specifically at home, he has a hit in 8 of his last 10 games. I am very, very high on Juan Soto over half a hit tonight. Giancarlo Stanton over half a hit. I'd pair those with Yankees on the money line. I'll take this one step farther. I do think this goes over. Blue Jays and Yankees. I'll take the over 8.5. Blue Jays and Yankees over 8.5. Looking at the market, the money backs that. Money's back in the Yankees. That's where I'm coming down on it. Now, if you told me the Blue Jays cover the plus 1.5, would not shock me, but for the moment, I'll take Yankees on the money line, Blue Jays, Yankees over 8.5. There is supposed to be some rain potentially in New York during this one, so we'll have to keep our eyes on that. Wind for that game is blowing out to left field and a little bit in from right, but should be a decent game actually for home runs. Appreciate everyone joining us. Hope you guys are enjoying the content and enjoying the show. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're with us anytime we go live. Someone's asking about the Mets right now, really quick. Let's check out the Mets. Mets facing the Angels. Angels getting a little bit of love. They face the Mets starter, Paul Blackburn, making his first starts for the New York Mets tonight. Part of the reason that I think the Mets are a little bit of a trap play, I actually think Angels plus 1.5 has some value, and I'll show you why. Let's jump over to that game from a player prop bet standpoint, and I'm going to call out to you guys why this one has value to me. So we're looking at Mets, we're looking at Angels, and again, the Mets have Paul Blackburn on the mound. He's faced the Angels a lot. A couple of hitters have hit him very well. Luis Rengifo, 4 for 12. Tyler Ward, 8 at-bats, a 375 average, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. Taylor Ward, I would absolutely take him tonight. He has a hit in 4 of his last 5 games. Again, good numbers against the starting pitcher. Taylor Ward, over half a hit. I would absolutely take that. And I'd keep my eye on the Angels covering here. On the other side, Tyler Anderson against the Mets. Couple of hitters have his number. Brandon Nimmo hits him very well. 417 average in 12 at-bats. But other than that, JD Martinez hits him well. But not massive numbers for the Mets. So I actually think Angels plus 2.5 is a decent play. I'm going to put Brandon Nimmo up here as well. But I'm going to put the Angels plus 1.5 up here. Angels plus 1.5. Really quick, let's take a look at Tyler Anderson, though. Tyler Anderson as a home dog. 4 and 5 straight up. 6 and 3 on the run line. It's the run line I'm really focused on. First game of a series. 2 and 0 straight up. 2 and 0 on the run line. Love that. How about the Mets when they're facing a left-handed starter? 15 and 16 on the run line when they face a left-handed starter on the road. 8 and 6 straight up, 8 and 6 on the run line, a little bit better than I would have liked. How about as an away favorite against the left-handed starter? 6 and 5 straight up, 6 and 5 on the run line. How about when the Angels start a left-handed pitcher at home? 8 and 19 straight up, 11 and 15 on the run line. Wish that was a little better. As a dog, it's good though. Angels, when starting a left-handed pitcher, as a home dog, 9 and 5 on the run line. I do like the Angels to cover. Love the Angels to cover at the +1.5. Chris, I think Mets on the money line isn't a bad bet, but I think Angels +1.5 has some value to it, and that's really what I'm trying to bring out, is where the value plays are for that one. I think it's with the Angels. Gonna put a couple of quick picks up on the board. We talked about... I'm gonna bring up the Braves here. Braves coming off a home win. And they're a home favorite today. 13 and 11 under that scenario. When they play a division opponent under that, 3 and 3. Wish that were better. How about when they're facing an opponent with a sub 500 record after a home win and they're a home favorite? Only 4 and 10 on the run line. Not good at all. Wow. Braves on the money line is where I was going to go with this one. But there is some value towards the Marlins +1.5. Braves on the money line, but there's some value on the Marlins +1.5. Let's take a quick look at it from the Marlins point of view. Marlins coming off an away loss. They're an away dog today. They're facing a team that has a winning record. Under that scenario, 12 and 7 on the run line. Marlins +1.5 has value, folks. Keep your eye on that. I'm going to avoid that one, but keep your eye. Braves money line is a good bet. I'm not saying it's not, but Marlins +1.5 has some value. Keep your eye on it. Chris, how do you feel about the Yankees? I like Yankees on the money line. Blue Jays +1.5, and I like the over. I like the over for that one. One game I am going to make a very quick play. It's Twins. It's White Sox. The White Sox. First game of a series so far this year. 6 and 30. 6 and 30 in the first game of a series. On the road, they are 1 and 16. You heard that correct. The Chicago White Sox, in the first game of a series on the road, they are 1 and 16 straight up. You can put it on the board for me. Twins on the money line, everybody. Twins on the money line. That's going to be my favorite bet of the day. That's my favorite bet, regardless of the odds, the type of bet, everything. Twins on the money line, everybody. Twins on the money line. That's where I come down on that one, and pretty heavily. Put it into some parlays. That's where I'm going with it. White Sox, first game of a series on the road. 1 and 16. 1 and 16. By the way, just to make this even worse, when the White Sox play the first game of a series on the road and the total is more than 8 runs, the White Sox are 0 and 8. When the White Sox play the first game of a series on the road and the total is more than 8 runs, they are 0 and 8 straight up. Jennifer, any player prop bets you like for the White Sox and Twins game? Funny enough, I really like Andrew Benintendi. Andrew Benintendi has really good numbers against Joe Ryan, the starting pitcher of the Minnesota Twins. So actually, Andrew Benintendi, I know I was just taking an absolute poop of a dump on the Chicago White Sox, but Andrew Benintendi actually has some value in this one. Against Joe Ryan in his career, 17 at-bats, a .412 average, including a home run, 2 RBIs. He's got a 1.235 OPS, and he has not struck out in 17 career at-bats against Joe Ryan. So I'll put him up on the board. Andrew Benintendi. Over half a hit. That's one I have in terms of player props. On the Twins side of things, not big sample sizes. I did take Jose Miranda. He's hit the ball really well against right-handed pitching this year. He does have a small one at-bat history against Davis Martinez. I did take him as well. That's Jose Miranda, over half a hit. But my confidence on that one, not very high, Jennifer. Athletics to cover the spread, Tyler asks. Drew, they took Taylor Ward off DraftKings. Maybe he's not in the lineup, or maybe they're shifting it up to 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Someone asking about the Athletics. The Athletics are a home dog in the first game of a series against the Dodgers. Interestingly enough, by the way, over the month of July, the best team to bet on from a money line perspective in terms of profitability was the Oakland Athletics. So before you take a dump on a team just by brand reputation, make sure you dive into those stats, because sometimes you'll notice a trend, a stat that doesn't match the narrative, and those are the ones you really got to call out. Athletics are 7-4 on the run line as a home dog. First game of a series, much better than you would have expected. The total for this game, when the total's above 8 runs, first game of a series at home, they're 1-3. Not great. When they're home and the line is less than 130, that's interesting. The Oakland Athletics, when they play at home and the line is less than 130, they have a winning record. 21-15, straight up, 21-15 on the run line. When they are a home underdog, but the line is 130 or less, 9-12 straight up, but 13-8 on the run line. Tyler, I think you're up to something. I see some value here on the Oakland Athletics to cover. Let's check out Joey Estes really quick. Joey Estes on the mound for the Athletics. I'm going to go to his career stats because this is what I'm really interested in. When he faces a team with a winning record in his career, 4-4. The over is 7-1 when Joey Estes plays a team with a winning record. When he faces that team at home, 2-1 straight up, 2-1 on the run line, 2-1 favoring the over. Interesting. When he faces a team with a winning record and he's an underdog, the over is 7-1. Interesting. Let's take a look at Gavin Stone rather. When Gavin Stone, let's just look at this season specifically for Gavin Stone. When he's pitched as an away favorite this year, Dodgers are 5-1 straight up, 5-1 on the run line. There goes our Athletics plus 1.5 idea. I am going to take the Dodgers on the money line. I'm going to play it safe. Dodgers on the money line, but if you told me A's plus 1.5, I think there is some value there, Tyler, so it's not my favorite play. I'll take Dodgers on the money line, but keep an eye on the A's. John, favorite no run in the first inning. Well, it would have been in the earlier game. Cards-Cubs, that absolutely was my favorite no run in the first inning play of the day. Beyond that one, probably Marlins and Braves. Marlins, Braves, no run in the first inning. Marlins, Braves, no run in the first inning. That's probably the one I like the most. Phillies and Mariners is another one. Brian Wu, in his career, at home. Oh, wow. His team's averaging, so, okay, maybe not that. Yeah, no run in the first inning play. I'll go Marlins and Braves. Marlins, Braves, no run in the first inning on that one. Appreciate you guys watching the show. Hope you guys are loving the content, loving the conversation. Make sure you hit the follow button. If you guys want to participate in another fantasy draft, DM me right now. If we're going to do another fantasy draft, we're going to do it right now. So DM me on Instagram right now. If you want to participate in another fantasy football draft, DM me on Instagram, okay? Final few minutes, we're going to get into it. Juan, love Rafi Devers tonight. Let's put him up on the board. Rafi Devers, great numbers against the starting pitcher he's facing. Rafi Devers, over half a hit. Rafi Devers, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Very big on Rafi Devers. I actually did a same-game parlay one with Rafi Devers over half a hit and Marcus Semien over half a hit. So you may want to consider pairing the two of them together. Nick, DM me on Instagram. ButtFumble Sports, DM me on Instagram. Oh, you just did. Let's get that other draft. I'm willing to do one more draft for tonight. If you guys want to participate, DM me right now. Now's the time to get in it. We are going to make this a 10-team league. I'll do a 10-team league if we get enough people. 10-team league. This is BFS number 4. It's a free league. If you guys want to participate, DM me on Instagram. Right now, DM Butt Fumble Sports on Instagram, and you can participate in the league. So Nick is in. John is in. Carter is in. Again, if you want to participate in this one, DM me on Instagram, Butt Fumble Sports, and you're going to get involved. Caesar is in. Kyle wants to join the league. Kyle, what's good? Here you go, buddy. So Kyle's in. Jordan wants to join. There you go, Jordan. Juan wants to join. What's up, Juan? If you guys want to get in on this, we're going to probably make this another PPR league. So this is going to be a 10-team PPR snake draft. If you want to get into this league, DM me right now. We have 4 slots filled, 6 slots to go. So get in now while you can. DM me on Instagram. That's Butt Fumble Sports. Butt Fumble Sports with 2 T's, just like there are 2 cheeks. Butt Fumble Sports, DM me on Instagram to get in on this draft. While we wait for people to join, quick recap of the picks we've given out during the show for tonight's baseball action. We have the Pirates plus 1.5. Pirates plus 1.5. We have the Yankees on the money line. Yankees on the money line. We have Blue Jays and Yankees over 8.5. Blue Jays and Yankees over 8.5. We have the Angels plus 1.5. Angels plus 1.5. We have the Twins on the money line. Twins on the money line. And we have the Dodgers on the money line. Dodgers on the money line. Here are some of our favorite hitters for today. O'Neal Cruz. O'Neal Cruz. Salvador Perez. Salvador Perez. Juan Soto. Juan Soto. Giancarlo Stanton. Giancarlo Stanton. Taylor Ward if he plays. Taylor Ward if he plays. Brandon Nimmo. Brandon Nimmo. Andrew Benintendi. Andrew Benintendi. Jose Miranda. Jose Miranda of the Twins. And Rafi Devers. Rafael Devers. Those are some of our favorite hitters of the day. El Rick wants to join the Fantasy League. There you go, El Rick. BW wants in on this league. BW, there you go. There's a link. If you guys want to participate in this fantasy football draft and this fantasy football league, this league's going to run all year long. We have 4 slots left, everybody. 6 slots full, 4 slots left. Now, Rival Fantasy paid out these leagues last year. I don't make any promises about this year. But last year, if you won these leagues, you got money. So, pretty good incentive there. If you want to participate in a 10-team PPR snake draft, DM me on Instagram right now, Butt Fumble Sports. The moment we fill up the league, we will draft. So we're going to be very quick about it. 4 slots left if you want to get in on the action. Ray, I love Gunnar Henderson tonight. Taking him on a home run, I'm probably not as big on, but it's not a terrible idea given his home run history. But I do like Gunnar Henderson a lot tonight. Keep your eye on Colton Cowser also. He's on a nice little hit streak, but I really like Gunnar Henderson. Good call by Ray. Again, the Fantasy Football League, if you want to participate, Nicholas wants to join the league. What's up, Nicholas? I just sent you the link. Go sign up, go join, get your slot in the league. We're going to draft the moment we fill it up. We only have 3 slots left. 3 slots left. 2 slots left as Kyle Goodwin got his. 2 spots left in this league, and then we're going to draft. Any thoughts against Morel against Kikuchi? Haven't actually looked up that one. I keep forgetting that Morel is now on the Rays. In his career against Kikuchi, never faced him against left-handed pitching this year. He's only hitting 162. I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't take it. Not a good enough history, not a good enough sample size, nothing I can really sink my teeth into. So I could see him getting a hit, but Arctic Tiger, not enough data there for me to get into it. Still 2 slots left for this league if you want to participate. Juan, go claim your spot. Go claim your slot. Hit the link and claim your team. 2 spots left, and then we're going to draft. This is going to be a PPR league, everybody. A PPR league, 10-team PPR snake draft. 2 spots left. If you want to join this league, DM me right now. Tyler, you'll have a Discord with premium. We have a Discord. It's not a premium, though. Who would my first 3 picks be in a 12-man league? I have the first pick. Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill would be the top 3. Can you look up Max Kepler stats? Jennifer, he's been hot of late. I didn't bet him because he doesn't have a history against the starting pitcher, but he has been on a hot streak of late. Okay, we have filled up this league, everybody. This league is full. We are going to set up our draft right now. It's going to be a snake. It's going to be a PPR. 30 seconds on the clock per pick. We're going to set our draft time 5:45, so it's going to happen in just about a minute. Okay, everybody? This draft starts in about a minute. Snake draft, PPR league. We've got to randomize the draft order. It has been randomized. We are good to go, everybody. So, in 1 minute, we're going to do a 10-team PPR snake draft, okay? If you signed up for this league, we're going to start right away. I'm actually drafting last in this one. I drafted first in the last league. I'm drafting last in this one. Good practice, but that said, this is a real league. This is operational. So, an official league, we're getting it started. 30 seconds, everybody. 30 seconds until we start this league. For those that are curious about my sports bets every day, DM me on Instagram. We give away our picks for free. My baseball picks are up on the SHARPZ app now. So DM me on Instagram if you want to get all of my picks for free every single day. Just DM me on Instagram. Buttfumble Sports. You get all of my picks for free every day. So DM me on Instagram if you guys want those. We are starting our fantasy football draft in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Draft has been started. Carter Newman takes Christian McCaffrey to start. We are underway. This is a 10-team snake PPR draft. Okay, everybody? So we are doing that. CeeDee Lamb went 2nd overall. Ricardo Nunez is on the clock. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are loving the content, loving the show. It's an absolute joy to be with you guys every single day. Hope you guys know it. 3 running backs off the board in the first 5 picks. Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, Bijan went 1, 4, and 5. John now on the clock. So far it's been McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, and Jahmyr Gibbs. So running backs, 4 of the first 6 picks have been running backs. Wide receiver falling a little bit in this first round. Surprising me a little bit, actually. CT up next. Carrillo. Amon-Ra St. Brown went with the 7th overall pick in this first round. Justin Jefferson. So 4 wide receivers, 4 running backs in this first round. Nick is now up. Nick Fed. It's really interesting just to study how each draft goes. And A.J. Brown went next. I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor with my first pick, and I'm going to double up on running backs. I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley. I'm at that last pick of the first round, so I'm pick 10 in the first round. Pick 11, obviously, the first pick of the second round. Doubling up on running backs, I'm going Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley. Really just because the running back position, McCaffrey gone, Hall gone, Robinson gone, Gibbs gone. I didn't want to be waiting for my running back, so depth is going to be hard to come by for me in this draft, waiting as long as I do in between my picks. So I wanted to get my 2 running backs out of the way. Make sure you guys are hitting that follow button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're with us every time we go live. We do sports betting research. We do fantasy sports content. We're talking sports every time we come live. So if you're a sports fan, make sure you follow. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're with us every time that we're live. It's an absolute joy to be with you. Kyle Klein says Stephen Kwan's going to have a big day. I do like Stephen Kwan, Kyle. Caesar, I'm glad you got in on this one. El Pinche, Juan Soto, Henderson, Devers, Gurriel, Witt, Vlad Guerrero. I like a couple of them. I like Devers, Gunnar Henderson, Bobby Witt Jr. Obviously, those stand out. Juan Soto, those stand out to me. Wow. In the second round, 5 picks were made. Sorry, the first 6 picks of the second round were running backs. So an early run on running backs, the depth, it's going to be depleted. Glad I took the running backs where I did. Jamar Chase, for reference, Jamar Chase was in the second round. He was the 7th pick of the second round. That is a steal. Jordan Barron, Breece Hall, and Jamar Chase on your squad in the first 2 rounds. That is Steel City. We call that Pittsburgh Steel City. Great draft for you so far. Carter Newman getting McCaffrey, Puka Nacua, and Garrett Wilson. Carter, love your team so far. Tight ends. 2 tight ends off the board in the first 3 rounds. I'm surprised by that. Too early for me to take a tight end, especially with how running back is going, wide receiver. Sam Laporta went with the 2nd pick of the 3rd round. Didn't like that pick at all. But running backs, the run on running backs changed this draft. The number 1 running back that's on the board right now is Rachaad White, followed by Joe Mixon and Alvin Kamara. Just not a lot of depth there. Meanwhile, Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't go until the 5th pick of the 3rd round. We said in the last draft he's been going in a lot of second rounds. He fell to the midway through the 3rd round of this draft. So running back went really early. Running back, maybe it's because you guys are literally listening to me talk through the draft and you guys hear me valuing running back as highly as I am. But running back was valued in the 1st round, dominated the 2nd. Not a lot of depth there now, so it's changed this draft substantially. 2 tight ends have been taken. Other than that, it's been all running backs and all wide receivers. Joel, appreciate the kind words. Wonderful to have you watching the show. Thus far in the 3rd round, we've had 4 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a tight end taken. The 1 tight end was Sam Laporta. Deebo Samuel just went. I am on deck, about to make my first pick since round 2. So in the first 2 picks I made was Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley. Chris Olave just came off the board. I'm going to take Drake London. That's a decent pick in the 3rd round for me. There's no value at running back for me right now. I could get Josh Allen, but I don't love it. I'm going to go back to the wide receiver position. I've been taking him in a lot of leagues, maybe too many, but I'm going to go back to Michael Pittman Jr. So so far, I've made 4 picks. Again, I'm the last pick of each round. I'm the last pick of the 1st round. I'm pick number 10 in a 10-man league, so I get that back-to-back, and then I've got to wait a while. I have Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Drake London, and Michael Pittman Jr. I'm in a pretty good spot when it comes to bye weeks, other than I have 2 Colts. My only issue with taking Michael Pittman Jr. where I did is I'm doubling up on that Colts offense. I'm not happy about that, but he was the best player on the board in my estimation. So Michael Pittman Jr. and Jonathan Taylor on the same squad. No, it's not ideal, but hopefully both of them perform well. I need to obviously kind of fade the rest of the Colts offense. I'll make sure I say this for all those that are listening. If you're getting Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman Jr., you should not be in the market for Anthony Richardson. Don't be overly loaded on the Colts offense. If you want one area of their offense, that's fine, but don't double down on them too often. I think it'll backfire. Another run on running backs in this 4th round. After I took Michael Pittman Jr., then came Rachaad White, Joe Mixon, and James Conner. So that running back depth, it is going fast. It's why I got my running backs in round 1 and 2. I highly recommend that to you guys as well. Sonny Gill drafting 2nd in a snake draft, PPR and PPC. I don't know what PPC is. Is that points per catch? Points per reception? I don't know what that is. Points per completion? Which two would you target on my way back and third round? If you're drafting second overall, in the second round, I'm seeing who's fallen. Like in this draft, Jamar Chase fell to late second round. That's kind of where I'm looking there. Who falls? Running back or wide receiver, it's probably who falls. And then in round 3, I'm probably getting another running back. If Josh Jacobs were there, I'd probably take him. He's got a lot of value. Keep your eye on that. That third round's going to be an interesting one. I think it's either the best wide receiver available on the board or someone like a Josh Jacobs who's an RB1 who can really be good depth for you there. Matthew T. Colts got to fix the O-line. I think their O-line is still a top 10 offensive line. It's better on the interior than on the edges, but I still think the offensive line is actually better than people think. How do you feel about going running back, so to start a draft? John, that's what I do. Running back is the most valuable position, especially when I put it this way. If I were to tier off each position, the best at that position, second best, third best, and so on, the running back positions where top tier and second tier have the biggest fall off. Wide receiver, I can find great value at wide receiver throughout the draft, so don't be too quick to draft a wide receiver when there are running backs available. Get those running backs, lock in that value, and then you can find some good lottery tickets at wide receiver later in the draft. We've had 3 tight ends taken through the first 5 rounds. Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta, and Mark Andrews. That's what I would expect for the most part. Quarterback, not a big run on quarterback. 2 quarterbacks went in the 4th round, now 1 in the 5th. Personally, in a 10-team league, I'm probably waiting even longer on quarterbacks. So kind of interesting here. A number of you are probably going to think, oh, in a big league, maybe you want to get the best at a position that you can. Quarterback to me is less important in a 10-man league. My running back, my wide receiver position has to get great production, has to produce value. I can find quarterbacks week to week, but in a 10-man league where depth starts to become an issue, make sure running back and wide receiver are well accounted for. You can find quarterbacks. Every year there's a Baker Mayfield, there's a Jared Goff, there's a CJ Stroud, somebody who overperforms, who goes above expectation, and is a great waiver wire pickup. You know how often that happens at running back or wide receiver? Much more rarely. Maybe a wide receiver a little bit, but running back, very, very rare. By the way, we're in the 5th round of this 10-man PPR league. Only 1 running back taken in this round. Not because they don't want to take running backs, but because so many running backs were taken in rounds 2 and 4 that really the depth isn't really good. The value isn't good there. The top 3 running backs on the board are DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, Ramondre Stevenson at wide receiver, DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, Malik Neighbors at tight end, Dalton Kincaid, Trey McBride, George Kittle. Little surprised the tight end position hasn't had a run on it yet. I would have thought that might have happened in this 5th round. Personally, I'm happy with that. I'm happy waiting on it. DJ Moore comes off the clock next. Nice pick there. DJ Moore in the 5th round might be a sneaky good pick. I think DJ Moore is going to flourish with this Bears offense being upgraded. Now, he's not going to get the primary attention. Keenan Allen's going to get it. I think DJ Moore, Rome Odunze is going to get some attention. I think DJ Moore is going to have a really good year, even with more mouths to feed in that Bears offense. I actually think at times he was being targeted a lot, but he wasn't getting the production he should because there was so much coverage around him. I'm going to go back to running back now. I already have 2 running backs, but I want depth here. I'm going to go DeAndre Swift. I'm going to go DeAndre Swift as my 3rd running back. Here's a tricky one for me. I have 3 running backs. I kind of want a 4th. I'm not going to get another opportunity at running backs later in this draft. Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, and DeAndre Swift. I'm going to take wide receivers really attractive to me right now as well. But again, I feel like I can find other wide receivers. Running back's going to be harder to come by. I'm going to take Ramondre Stevenson. The only reason I'm taking Ramondre Stevenson is he is the RB1 of the Patriots. So now you could argue I have 4 RB1s. I have Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, DeAndre Swift, Ramondre Stevenson. I think those four are going to be the starting running backs for those teams. So I have good depth at that position in a 10-man league. I think having depth at running back is really difficult. I love the fact that by the way, I could trade one of them now and actually pick up value at wide receiver. But for the moment, really like having the depth at running back. I'll let other people chase late round depth at running back. I'd rather secure that in the 6th round and look for wide receivers later in the draft. I think I could find a lottery ticket wide receiver. I think there's a greater chance of that than finding a lottery ticket running back later in the draft. We just had back-to-back quarterbacks go here in the 6th round. Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson just went. We've also had 4 wide receivers. After I took Ramondre Stevenson, Zamir White went, then DK Metcalf, followed by Devin Singletary, those 2 quarterbacks, then David Montgomery. Seeing a bit of a run on running back here again. Not a lot of depth at running back, so you better get your running backs while you can. If you're in a 10 or 12-man league, 10, 12, 14, the moment you get higher than 8, that's where running back depth is going to get harder and harder. If you can get 4 RB1s, not RB1s in terms of fantasy, but RB1 in the depth chart on their team, good value there. We have now entered the 7th round of this 15-round draft. Again, Butt Fumble Sports is going to do fantasy football drafts almost every single day between now and the start of the season. We do them on Rival Fantasy. Last year, Rival Fantasy actually did pay out for the winners of these leagues. I make no promises about this year. Hopefully they'll do it again this year. It was a great windfall for me. I made a couple grand. Because, I did 40 different leagues last year on Rival Fantasy and won a bunch of them, as a bunch of you guys know. But that said, hopefully they'll pay out again this year. Warren took DK by mistake, meant to take a running back, but all good. I think DK's valuable. I actually thought about taking him. Running back was more coveted to me, but I don't think it's a terrible idea. Who is QB1 this year? That is really tricky. I think Josh Allen is overrated right now. I think they're going to rely more on James Cook, and I think the receivers have been downgraded in Buffalo. So I don't think Josh Allen's is quarterback number 1. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to have a monster year, but he doesn't gain the rushing yards that so much value comes from with the quarterback position now. I like Jalen Hurts. I like Lamar Jackson. Those two stand out. As a sleeper play, Anthony Richardson's absolutely someone to keep my eye on. But I don't think it's Josh Allen this year. I think Josh Allen ends up being maybe fantasy quarterback number 2 or 3. Wouldn't be surprised if Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts finishes number 1. Again, with rushing value included there. We are in the 9th pick of the 7th round. So, and Kyler Murray just went. Kind of too bad. Kyler Murray was actually on my radar here. I was thinking about taking Kyler Murray, so that's a really nice pick there by Nick. Good pick by you. I'm going to go back to wide receiver here. Terry McLaurin, I mentioned him earlier. Only issue is I have a bye week issue in week 14. Won't probably keep me away. I'll take Terry McLaurin. And I'm going to double up on wide receiver because I only have 3 wide receivers right now. Drake London, Michael Pittman Jr., Terry McLaurin. And I'm going to take Rashee Rice. And I'm going to take a Kansas City wide receiver. I want to get in on the Kansas City passing game in some way. I'll take Rashee Rice there. So far, this is my team. Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley are my starting running backs. Drake London and Michael Pittman are my starting wide receivers. Right now, I have DeAndre Swift and Ramondre Stevenson as my backup running backs. And I have Terry McLaurin and Rashee Rice as my backup wide receivers. This isn't my favorite team of the teams we've drafted so far, but not terrible. I think there's balance here. Frankly, I love that I got good depth at running back. If I wanted to trade one of my running backs like a Ramondre Stevenson or DeAndre Swift, I could upgrade at another position. But for the moment, love having the extra insurance depth at running back. Would you consider Gibbs over A.J. Brown a risky move? No, I actually think it's the right move. I think A.J. Brown's value is coming down year by year. Doesn't mean he's not a wide receiver 1, but Jahmyr Gibbs, he has the number 1 offensive line in front of him. He's going to be the RB1 this year, not David Montgomery. In a PPR league, I think Gibbs is absolutely the better play than A.J. Brown. Ricky, you can join as many leagues with me as you want. I'm going to do a league. I'll probably do at least 2 drafts every day. I'd like to obviously do more. If we could do 5, I would do it. It's all about the rate at which you guys sign up. But I'm going to do as many leagues as you guys want, and you guys can join as many as you want. There's no limit. I do want to get new people involved if we can, but I'm going to let you guys participate in as many as you want. Start. Kyron, Etienne, Gibbs, or Warren. Start. I haven't looked at week 1, so we're a long way from start questions. Right now, I'd probably say Jahmyr Gibbs. Kyron Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs are going up against one another, but we haven't gotten to start or sit week 1 yet. If you guys want to participate in another draft, DM me on Instagram, ButtFumble Sports. We're going to do another draft tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to do our next draft. This will probably be the last draft of the day. Maybe I come on tonight for a subscriber-only show, but probably not. You can, but again, start-sit decisions aren't going to really be relevant for another couple of weeks. We got to wait on some things. We got to wait on obviously who makes the team, what the depth charts look like, and everything else. By the way, Kyle Pitts went in the 9th round of this draft. I was trying to sneakily get him in round 9 here. He went at the 5th pick of round 9. Great pick right here by B. Walker. Kyle Pitts, he's falling in some of these drafts. I think he's going to have a monster year. So really good pick right there by B. Walker. I need a quarterback. I need a tight end. Those are the 2 positions I'm focused on for round 9 and 10 as I, again, am on that circle round. I'm going to take Jake Ferguson as my tight end. Not crazy about it, but certainly my favorite tight end up on the board. And again, not crazy about it, but I'm going to take Brock Purdy. He's going to be my quarterback. He's not my favorite pick, but getting him in round 10, don't have a problem with it. My team so far, Brock Purdy, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Drake London, Michael Pittman Jr., Jake Ferguson, DeAndre Swift, Ramondre Stevenson, Terry McLaurin, and Rashee Rice. Reese Roll, if you want all of my picks, they're up on the SHARPZ app right now. DM me on Instagram if you didn't get my picks for today. My picks are available for free every single day. So DM me on Instagram, ButtFumble Sports. I give away all of my picks for free, so no worries about that. I'll hook you guys up. If you guys do want those free picks. Making our way downtown through this draft, selecting players in round 10. Okay, we're in round 10 right now. Ladd McConkey just went. Christian Watson just went. So a couple of wide receivers. Bills one fan, draft Breece Hall or Bijan. Look, in the ADP department, Breece Hall is ranked higher. If it's a PPR league, I actually prefer Bijan, I think. It's very close, but in a PPR league, I think I prefer Bijan Robinson just slightly. I think he's got a bit more value. Royce Tooth, great to see you, buddy. 10-man PPR, I'm at 1 of 1. Is it too big of a reach to go Kyler at the 6-7 turn? I think it's a little bit of a reach, but I get it if you want to do it. I think there is value there. I think he's a steal in rounds 9 or 10 like he was in this draft, but I think there's value in rounds 6 or 7. So Royce Tooth, I'd be okay with it, especially because you're going to get that running production back now that he's fully healthy from that ACL tear a couple of years ago. We have 5 rounds left in this 8-man PPR league that we're drafting right now. Lamar, Gibbs, Kyron, Etienne, Warren, St. Brown, AJ, Puka, Olave, Ingram, and Ferguson. That is a loaded team. That is a loaded squad. Well done. Do you like the 4th or 8th pick in a 10-man league? Probably the 4th. Probably the 4th because I can lock in my RB1 at a greater value. Again, Breece Hall or Bijan at that 4th pick. And then at 8 turnaround, you have a lot of options. Probably there's a run on running back at the end of the 1st or early 2nd round, so you can maybe get a really good wide receiver in that 2nd round, Steve Suarez. I probably prefer pick number 4 over pick number 8 in a 10-man league, but it's very close. Very, very close. David Njoku just went in the 11th round. Keep your eye on him. Brock Bowers went ahead of him. A bit surprised by that. Wide receiver, I'm going to take another flyer. Jameson Williams of the Detroit Lions. Taking a flyer on him. Going back to the tight end well. Nope. Running back. Nope. Quarterback, I'm going to take a flyer. I'll take Caleb Williams. I'm going to take the flyer on him as a backup. I had Brock Purdy 2 rounds earlier. I'm not crazy about it, but I already have depth at wide receiver. I have depth at running back. I didn't really like my options at tight end. I'm going to wait for rounds 13, 14, and 15 for my kicker and my defense. So it was then a question of what position player am I going to get. I probably, I'm going with value at quarterback. Caleb Williams, I see some upside there, so I was willing to do that. Though probably not a player that I'll draft in a lot of my leagues. I'm actually not high on the rookie quarterbacks this year, if I'm being honest. Love the rookie wide receivers. Love the rookie wide receivers. Like Brock Bowers as well. Rookie running backs, not that high on them. But rookie wide receivers, I'm all about it. But outside of that, not a rookie class that I'm actually crazy about drafting. Caleb Williams is a backup quarterback, fine. Jaden Daniels, I don't like the offense of the Commanders enough. So I probably won't be encouraging too many rookie quarterback selections. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are loving the content, loving the show. If you are, make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're with us every time we go live. It is an absolute joy to be with you guys every single day. So make sure you follow us. Make sure you're with us. It is awesome to be able to join you guys when we go live. We are in round 12 of a 15-round 10-man PPR snake draft. Once we wrap up this one, we are going to wrap up the show. I will be back live tomorrow, so make sure you guys join us. We'll be live probably around 11:30 tomorrow. We'll do some more fantasy drafts. We'll obviously do some more sports betting research. Landon, thoughts on a fantasy draft start with Tyreek, Adams, or Marvin Acham? I'd probably go Tyreek and Adams. Best spot in a 12-man league? Again, that number 4 spot's not bad. I think the 8 spot's not bad in that one as well, getting that turnaround. But frankly, in a 12-man league, I want to lock in my RB1 as soon as I can. So the sooner the better. Probably not picks 1, 2, or 3, because you're kind of forced into a wide receiver and picks 2 or 3. But pick 4 or 5. Badfish, I think that's a decent spot, actually. Kind of being in the middle there, but on the earlier side for that first round. Make sure you guys hit that follow button. Make sure you're with us every single day. We're going to be covering fantasy football every single day from now until the end of the season. Landon, thoughts on a fantasy draft start? 103, Tyreek Adams or Marvin Aj. I said Tyreek and Adams. Tyreek and Adams, Landon. Defense came off the board. 49ers defense is the first defense off the board. Came in round 13. A lot of credit to those who have been drafting in this league. I think taking a defense too early is a massive mistake. I've made that mistake in the past. There was a time where there was an elite defense that was so valuable it was worth it. Very rare to find now. Perfect example of it. The Browns were that defense last year. They were available in the waiver wire for in a number of leagues. So just because defense might be a position you think you can get some extra value, very rare actually. I think it's better to wait. I think week-to-week matchups play a pretty big impact as well. So I understand people want to lock in their favorite team or their favorite defense, but don't do too fast. Jason, I think I'd go Swift in the 6th round. I like the fact he's an RB1 there. By the way, a kicker went in round 13. I don't think it's too early for a kicker in round 13. Much like a defense, rounds 13, 14, and 15, that's where I'd go for a defense. That's where I'd go for a kicker. But outside of that, probably not what I'd do. I am going defense now. I'm going back to the Browns. I've been taking the Browns in a lot of drafts. I was going to take the Jets, but Nick Federation took them right in front of me. I need to get a kicker now. I'm going to go with Harrison Butker, the guy who apparently hates women. So I'll probably call my team the Women Haters. But I am taking Harrison Butker because that Chiefs offense, it is going to be fantastic. I didn't think about taking Brandon Aubrey, but I don't like the Dallas Cowboys offense as much as I like the Chiefs. Chiefs offense, because I like them, I am going with someone who I don't like personally in Harrison Butker. Hope you guys are loving the show. Hit that follow button, everybody. Make sure you're with us every single day. We have 1.5 rounds left to go. We're going to do a league, at least 2 leagues every day. So if you love drafting, if you love participating in fantasy football, DM us every single day. We'll hook you guys up with the link and the code so you guys can get involved and participate in these drafts. That's what we're focused on. We want you guys to have a great experience. We want you guys to get involved, obviously engage with us off the air. So make sure you guys are participating, DMing us with us every single day we do a show. Final few picks of round 14. It's interesting which rounds are slower and which ones go faster. I find the first round and the last rounds go slow, as if people are combing through, and it's like you probably still know who you want. Just taking that little bit of extra time. We have 1 round to go in this, what is our now 4th team, our 4th league of the year. Last year we did 40 leagues. We are going to blow past that. We are going to do so many leagues this year. Jay, we like the Yankees on the money line, Jay. I like the Yankees on the money line. We looked at it earlier, buddy. Like the Yankees on the money line. I also did like the over in that one. Over 8.5 if you can get it. Last round of our 10-man PPR snake draft. As the skies in New York look fairly ominous as we speak about that Yankee game, Jay. Kickers being taken. Some flyer wide receivers. I have 4 running backs. I have 5 wide receivers. I have 1 tight end. So I need a backup tight end. Ferguson has his bye week in week 7, so I'll be avoiding anyone who has a bye week in week 7. Though I don't really love my options here at tight end. Cole Kmet, same bye week, he's out. Luke Musgrave, not crazy about him. Hunter Henry, not crazy about him. Isaiah Likely, Tight end position is not doesn't really have my love right now. Wide receiver, man, that 10-team league, when you get down to that last round, you are really scraping at the bottom of the barrel. Right now, it looks like Luke Musgrave's going to be my pick, but I'm not crazy about it. Blake Corum is an interesting one, actually, to select. Blake Corum, rookie running back for the Rams. Zach Charbonnet, second-year running back for the Seahawks. 2 former Michigan running backs. They're both on the board. J.K. Dobbins is on the board as well. I'm not loving the tight end situation. Might encourage me to go in another direction. Right now, it looks like running back. Leggett is gone. Leggett's gone. He's already been drafted. Charbonnet goes. Nick making the last pick before me. And the last... Come on, Nick. Make your selection, dog. The last pick of the draft is coming from me. I'm going to go with a flyer on J.K. Dobbins. I'll take the lottery ticket on a running back. So, I was drafting 10th in a 10-man PPR league, so last in the first round. This is my team. At quarterback, I've got Brock Purdy as my starting quarterback. My starting running backs are Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley. My starting wide receivers are Drake London and Michael Pittman Jr. My starting tight end is Jake Ferguson. Currently at the flex is DeAndre Swift. My kicker is Harrison Butker. My defense is the Browns. My bench consists of Ramondre Stevenson, Terry McLaurin, Rashee Rice, Jamison Williams, Caleb Williams, and J.K. Dobbins. That is our second and final draft of the day. We're going to do at least 2 drafts every single day, so if you missed out on today's drafts, don't worry, just join us again tomorrow, and we will do a lot more fantasy football drafting and analysis as we get closer to week 1 of the NFL season. If you guys want every bet that I made today when it came to baseball, DM me on Instagram. I give away my picks for free every single day. So just DM me on Instagram, Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram to get every bet that I make, regardless of the sport or type of bet. DM me on Instagram to get every bet that I make every single day. So wonderful being with you for the show today. Can't wait to do it again tomorrow. We'll be live probably at around 11:30 tomorrow morning, so make sure you schedule your day accordingly. Hope to see you guys again tomorrow. Stay healthy, stay safe. So grateful for the support you guys show us. Make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, make sure you are a member of this community, because we're going to go live almost every single day. Until I'm back tomorrow, have a great night. Catch you guys then. Bye, everybody.